Well, here we are back with another one of our great partners. So, Kiko, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Sure, I'm Kiko, or Christian Reis. I work at Canonical as VP for Hyperscale and Storage.
So I know we've talked a bit this week already about some of the changes that Nexenta's released, obviously with Edge, but then just overall with OpenStack and how much it's influenced us. But what do you think of this conference as a whole? I mean, how nice has the show been for you?
First, the location is spectacular. I've already come back and said, let's have a look at these condos around here. More seriously about the event itself, I think it's like evidence that people are definitely serious about changing their IT structure, thinking about open source where open source was never considered before, thinking about scale outs where scale up was the norm before. So I think we are seeing real evidence of production focused now deployment, whereas before you came to these summits and it was a lot of, we're thinking about this is a very alpha or beta technology. We're now seeing people saying, we're using this in production, we have thousands of users, and we're now measuring our costs against public cloud. So I think it shows like real evolution and maturity.
So, and you're coming from the open source space,
That's
obviously.
Right. That's right.
And for years we had the question of, I don't know if I want to put open source into the enterprise. I got to worry about security. I have all these questions. And I feel like when you see 6,000 people show up at a show to talk about open source things, and that open data center, where it be software defined, and with things like Edge or the canonical releases and things like that, we're seeing a shift. That the enterprise is finally adopting what open source means.
Yeah, definitely. I think for any enterprise today, open source is on the list of things to consider. Hey, Microsoft, open source company, open source contributions. Is that a sign of the times or what?
Yeah, because I mean, all of us were like, really, Microsoft? There's no way they're gonna open source.
But you talk to them and they're serious about it.
They have a whole division now.
That's right. And the engineers talk to us and say, we want to use our stuff. We're driving automation inside the company, and you have the best kit.
So if you had to tell someone the one reason to come to this show, other than, of course, to see software-defined storage,
right?
What would you tell them? Why should they make sure that they make the next summit or the one after that?
They should come to the next summit because if they're not thinking about OpenStack or software-defined anything, they're really living in the cave. They need to be looking forward because you're not going to deploy in the next 5 years as you are deploying today.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.